Hello, my name is Weinberg, and I'm looking so forward to meeting all of you in person. I'm going to be saying a few ideas about Parashat Shoftim, and this is a parsha with a tremendous amount of mitzvos and ideas in it. I'd like to focus on one small idea that we find in the middle of the parsha. There's a mitzvah in the parsha that a person is not allowed to do something called nichosh. Nichosh is an idea that's found both in Parashat Shoftim and in Parashat Kedoshim, where it says lo senachshu v'lo se'onenu. What is nichosh? It doesn't mean don't be a snake. It means that you're not allowed to do divination. You're not allowed to do anything that's superstitious. Specifically, if something happens to you, something just happens over the course of the day, and you take that as a sign that now you're going to have bad luck, or perhaps even good luck, and you change what you would have done otherwise, that's lo senachshu. So what happens? You get dressed in the morning, and you find that you put on a blue shell with your black outfit, and you look ridiculous all day. So you take that as a sign that you're going to have bad luck today. Or you have a test, and you wore a certain sweater, and then you realize that every time you wear the sweater, you flunk tests, so forget it, you're not taking this test. That would be a problem of lo senachshu. So now this brings up questions. For example, we find people in the Torah who seems to have made decisions based on things that they saw or things that they observed. For example, Eliezer Eved Avram. He said, whoever comes and feeds my camels, feeds me and gives my camels to drink and me as well, so that will be a wife for Yitzchak. Yonasan comes and he infiltrates the camp of the Plishtim based on a sign if they tell me to come up or they tell me to come down. We find all different kinds of examples like this. Both people who made signs and therefore decided to do something, or people who changed what they were going to do based on signs that they saw. So I'd like to deal with the first example because that's just a more simple, straightforward type of example for the 3 or 4 minutes in which we're going to be having this conversation. And that is, are you allowed to make decisions based on events that occurred? And the answer is sometimes. So here are the 3 parameters. If a person, number 1, sets the idea in advance, that means tomorrow morning when I wake up, if the weather is this way, I'll do this with my day, and if the weather is that way, I'll do that with my day. That would be the first condition that would make it allowed. The second condition is it has to make sense. I am looking for a balas chesed for my master's son. If what she does is an act of chesed, I will see that as a sign that she is a proper balas chesed. Now, if I hire an FBI agent and if I do further research, that's not a sign, that's a fact. But here, Eliezer didn't know for a fact that Rivka was a balas chesed. Maybe she was just tricking him out of the jewelry that she saw sticking out of his back pocket. So he used it as a sign, but it was a sign that made sense. The same thing with Yonasan. He made a sign in order to infiltrate the camp of the Plishtim, but it made sense. And finally, the last idea is you can't completely rely on the sign. That means I've thought it through. I think this makes sense. This is one of my options. And now I'm going to make myself a sign. If you, number 1, don't completely rely on the sign. Number 2, set it in advance. Number 3, the sign makes sense. Then halachically, we're allowed to rely on it. That still leaves us with a number of questions. For example, if you can't be superstitious and you can't rely on signs, so there seems to be so many other things in the Torah that seem to be challenging according to this. I'm sorry, I think we're out of time, but I look so forward to discussing this with you next year, continuing the conversation, and learning about all the other aspects of this mitzvah. Have a wonderful day and a good Shabbos.